welcome to my channel. My name is Nathina Antoinette, trying to pop like a bottle of wet. So be sure to click that subscribe button. Let's go over the different ways to start your locks. And then I'm going to tell you what I think is the best way to start your micro locks, especially if you have this very strange texture like I do in the back of my head. That I probably shouldn't say strange. Please don't be offended, but it's not as coarse as my other hair. It looks like it's thick and then it just kind of, I don't know, it's very like fine, I guess, once you start to manipulate it. I started playing around with these locks in the back of my head just to see if I could actually go ahead and begin this lock process. If you're new to this portion of my lock journey, I had thick locks before. I relaxed my hair and then I wanted to wear wigs, and so I left my cornrows in a little bit too long. Make a long story short, the back of my hair locked and I had to chop it off. So now it's long enough for me to go ahead and add some micro locks in the back. Why not go ahead and give you guys about 5 different ways that you could start your locks. You can really start your locks with any of the methods that I'm going to show you, but depending on the texture of your hair and the outcome, you may want to be very selective about which method you choose. Now, I'm going to go ahead and embarrass myself on camera and try to part the back of my hair. Y'all know I don't do parts. Well, if you're new here, I don't do parts, baby. So this is just for you. I'm showing out right here. Just for you. Now, the first method that I'm going to show you is going to be a 2-strand twist. This method is cool if you have 4C hair. If anything less than 4C hair, I don't see it for you, bud. I know a lot of people like to start their locks this way and then they complain of slippage, and mostly slippage is what I hear as the complaint for these. Especially if your hair is, see that? If your hair is that texture, it's not gonna last. It's gonna come right on out. So don't waste your time. Don't let them play in your head and do them 2-strand twists. Don't play in your head and waste your time on the 2-strand twist, especially if you're getting micro locks, because you're going to have a lot of locks that is going to slip and you are just going to have to get it redone again. The next way you can start your locks would be a braid lock, and basically you're just going to start with a plait. So 3 strands of hair, and you're going to just plait your hair down all the way to the end. I do like this method to start your locks. I would say this is my second favorite method. It will be my favorite just because of how easy it is to do it, but second favorite because it takes a long time for that braid pattern to disappear. You will have to braid your hair stretched out loose in order for that pattern to kind of disappear. If you have a question about that, I can probably show you better than I can explain it. The next method is going to be coils. I don't recommend it. I'm struggling to do it on my hair because it's the back of my head, but basically you're going to take that comb, grip it at the base of your hair, and then you're going to twirl. See how I'm twirling down here? You're going to twirl at the base and then work your way down in that motion right there, in that spinny motion, all the way down, and it's going to come out so cute and so beautiful. This would not work for me. See, even if I did it right, it would just remain way too loose for my hair texture. I think that is something that would also be more suited for a coarser texture of hair, because it just wouldn't hold even with product, and I don't want product buildup. So anything I could do to avoid using a bunch of product would work. So coils, I don't recommend them, and just a waste of time in my opinion. Take a second. All right, notice how I gave up on that comb. I gave up. I can't part. I do a better job with my fingers. It just is so much easier. This is going to be my favorite way to start micro locks, not necessarily regular locks, but micro locks. You can interlock from the end, Because of my hair texture, I prefer to do a little plait at the very end of the hair. And from there, I just continue to interlock it all the way up the same way I would if I was doing a retie, an interlock retie on someone else's locks. You start it the same way. The downside to this is that it takes a long time. And so if your hair is halfway down your back, this is not going to be a task that is easy. Okay, it's doable, yes, but it would just be very tedious to get it all done. Is it worth it? Yes. The reason why I feel as though it's worth it is because I have experienced the least amount of slippage with interlocking. Even with the locks that I started with braids, too much swimming, too much washing still caused those to slip. So even if you do end up doing the braid method to start your locks, I would still recommend interlocking at the base of the braid just to secure it, because in my opinion, this is the most secure way to start your locks. If you don't like your hair too tight, you could definitely just stop interlocking once you cannot do it anymore with your fingers. If you want it to be nice and tight, then you grab a crochet hook of some sort. I'm using just this regular crochet needle that you could find at any hair store, and you just continue the process. Make sure you follow the same pattern. And with interlocking, you have an option. I used a 4-point turn, which means I did both the left, the right, the top, and then down at the bottom. You could do a 2-point or 3-point turn as well. The last method, which is cool too, is going to be crocheting. I just give my hair a little twirl to gather some of that hair together, and then I just go in and out. I do slow down so that you can see I'm not just pulling the needle basically in and out, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going over and under, but I'm keeping the hair in between my fingers. This method is cool if you have this texture of hair or thinner, but sometimes it could look a little stiff. So I wouldn't really do this unless I just did not want to wait for my hair to lock, or I was adding hair to my locks. Aside from that, I don't know. It's cool. It'll do. But you know, it's tiring. That's just, see, I'm still doing this, and I don't like how that needle really feels against my fingers. So I am going to give up on this very, very soon. But these are the basic ways that you could start your lock. And as you can see, the coil, that's pretty gone. The braid looks good, and the 2-strand twist, yeah, that's pretty gone too. And like I said, you can use product, but then you risk the chance of having buildup, especially if you have this texture of hair. You don't want to mess with that. I interlocked these a couple weeks ago, still holding on strong, as you know, fine as that hair is. So now that I've shown you all the ways, what's your excuse? What you waiting on? Lock your hair.